Welcome to FAM. Let's talk about the Range Rover Velar in this video today, so stay tuned with us till the end. Range Rover's lineup has gotten more stylish over the years, but when the Velar came out in 2018, it pushed the brand's design philosophy further than ever before. Many of the Velar's new wave looks have been copied by its siblings, like the full-size Range Rover and the smaller Range Rover Evoque. Now in its 6th year of production, the 2023 model looks a lot like the first one, which is not a bad thing. There are two turbocharged engines, a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder and a 3.0-liter inline-6. All-wheel drive is standard. Just don't think that driving the Velar will be as fun or smooth as driving the BMW X3, Genesis GV70, or Porsche Macan. This SUV looks great on the road and is made by a well-known luxury brand. Rather than being fun to drive, it's nice to be in. The Velar fills a gap in the Range Rover lineup from Land Rover. It's bigger than the Evoque but not as big as the Sport. It has the same platform as the Jaguar F-Pace, but it looks longer, lower, less upright, and, to put it bluntly, more whoa. It costs a lot, and it looks and feels expensive as well. It's nicer and can go farther off-road than most competitors, including the Jaguar. The Velar is about the same size as the BMW X4 and X6, the Audi Q5, and the Mercedes GLC Coupe and GLE Coupe. If you can't compete with the Germans, split the difference and find your own place in the market. Style is more important than having as much space as possible or being tough off-road. The Velar has a fast shape, with a beltline that rises, a roof that drops, a tail that is pinched in, and a lot of screen rake. The surfaces look like snow. The grille, headlights, and bumper all line up perfectly. Because of this, the number plate print sticks out like a sore. The fake vents on the hood and below the door mirrors also stand out. Overall, the design is very well done. If you compare it to a Range Rover Sport, you can see how the skin has been tightened, the roof has been lowered, and the details have been cleaned up. Pop-out door handles, home. The cabin is even more surprising because of how the glass cockpit system for displays and controls combines form and function. It doesn't have a low-ratio transfer case or anti-roll bars that's separate from each other like the Sport does. Because of this, it doesn't have everything that Land Rover's most extreme off-roader has. But by most measures, it is very capable in the wilderness, which is reassuring when you park next to all the German fodder at the farm food shop. There is a new set of engines, including a plug-in hybrid P400e that can go 33 miles without the engine running. We tested it along with the D300 diesel, which is now a 48-volt mild hybrid, assisted straight 6 that is 7 kilograms lighter than the V6 it replaces, and the D200 diesel, which has 4 cylinders. The Velar has a lot of style, but it's still a useful car. It's big enough for a family but not so big that it's hard to drive in cities, and it can do amazing things off-road. The Velar has a lot of style, but it's also a useful car. It's big enough for a family, but not so big that it's hard to drive in cities, and it can do amazing things off-road. In other ways, it's hard to find direct competitors. For example, the Jaguar F-Sister Pace's car competes with the sportier German car. The cabin and new display or control system of the Velar are both easy to use and look good. Long-term, it's a nice place to live, but at first glance, it's amazing. Everyone who gets a ride will be surprised. It's more about making the driver feel safe than getting them involved. Let it slow your heart rate down while you enjoy the view. And the new engines seem to have made it a little more ready for the future. This is the Land Rover to drive if you don't want to be seen in a Defender. The D300 is a peach, the P400 is fun, and the P400 EFEV is a well-thought-out choice for a plug-in car in a crowded market. In short, Land Rover has taken a really nice car and made it even better without changing the way it looks. How do things work on the inside for the Range Rover Velar? Even though it's not as high as a Range Rover or a Sport, you still feel like you're on top of the world. And it feels like a different product than a crossover of this size from Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Alfa, or Jaguar, whose cabin is just a taller version of the saloons and coupes from those companies. The Range Rover dashboard is a simple rectangle made of leather, and the center console is a T-shaped piece that hangs down. The shapes are simple and have little decoration, but they are soft and fluffy. The doors are made of big boards of wood that are smooth and uniform in texture. The big story here is the display and control system. When the car's engine is turned off, the center console has two large, black touchscreens with no edges. The bottom one has two knurled knobs that you can twist and push. When you turn it on, the upper screen looks like the one in any other luxury car. It has navigation, entertainment, communications, and a lot of programmable car features. But having to carry the climate control doesn't make it too heavy. When the Velar first came out, this display was fine, but now it's showing signs of wear, and Land Rover has put itself in a bad spot. The new PV Pro mechanism in the new Defender and Discovery 5 needs a bigger space for the screen to pop out. Whoops! The climate is shown on the lower panel, which has beautiful drawings of Zephyrs carrying warm air to the people inside. Two knurled knobs let the driver and passenger choose how hot or cold it is. When you push them, they turn into seat heaters, and their markings change to reflect this. If you press the button on the screen that says Seat Massage, the marks will change again, so you can change how strong the massage is. You realize quickly that this is much easier to use than a touch screen alone. And the marks on these wheels change depending on what they are being used for. If you click a tab that replaces the climate screen with the Dynamics mode screen, you can use the knob to change the off-road mode. You also have a set of TFT driver tools that can be changed. A head-up display is also included. With all of this screen space, some of which can be split up at will, it's easy to always show whatever you want. You don't have to keep hitting the GPS, media, and car buttons because they can all have their own screens. This makes it much easier to use than a lot of screen-based solutions. On a long trip through unfamiliar territory, for example, you could swipe the music display and controls down onto the lower screen, then use the upper screen for a full north-up map and your 3D local map in the instrument cluster. If you switch between dynamic modes often, keep them on the bottom screen and split the top screen between entertainment and navigation. Put your trip computer in the instruments. It's important to note that the new steering wheel, which was modeled after the Defender, now has lit controls that look a little less expensive. There isn't as much legroom as you'd like behind the wheel because the front seats are so big. It works well for most adults, and it has ports, vents, and lights. There isn't much space for storage in the cabin. There isn't a deep storage bin in the middle console. The trunk is large but not very deep. But because this is a long car, it has more space than competitors. It just makes room under the floor for a space saver. But that's better than a can of repair after you cut a tire in the woods. The Meridian sound system, which can be added as an option, sounds more like music than like a music system. That is not normal for a car. There is also textured fabric upholstery for vegetarians who don't like leather. We chose it only because it was comfortable. Thanks for watching. Let us know about your views in the comments down below.